I am very pleased to announce today that BikeShare is coming to Salt Lake City. Any of you who have had the experience of BikeShare in a city, in this country there are a few cities, or around the world, know what an incredible asset it is to the community. BikeShare, for those of you who may not be familiar with it, is a system of bikes at bike stations that are placed around the city that people can access for a very small fee. They can do it daily, they can do it yearly, they can do it in between for a very small fee and ride the bikes around town for as long as they want. But of course, the longer they have them, the more it costs, unless they're, I think, part of the annual fee program. And can just leave them at another station. They are convenient. They're an easy way for people to get around in a city like ours, which in the valley is relatively flat downtown. And they have all kinds of benefits. For people who may be traveling a few blocks or up to a couple of miles, these bikes are designed to be comfortable, safe, easy to use when you're in your dress clothes, and very, very easy to use. They're very stable bikes. So we have coming really a program in Salt Lake City for people who visit downtown Salt Lake that will enable folks to have another way to get around town, who may be coming to town by another mode, whether they're driving their car or whether they're taking transit downtown, and can just hop on a bike to go to a meeting or to go and visit someone. And we're fortunate in a way that we're not the first city to do this, because there are always bugs to get worked out in new systems. I think Paris was one of the first cities, and they've gone through a couple of iterations. Washington, D.C. had one early system that has now been modified. But we now have a system in looking at how they work around the country that are enormously successful. So successful, in fact, that I was in Washington, D.C. for some meetings that extended over a weekend, and I went to go get a bike, and I went to 2 different stations, and all the bikes were gone. So they're a wonderful asset to a community, and we think will help us both in terms of improving our quality of life, help us with air pollution, save people money, have easy ways to get around, and obviously promote a healthier lifestyle. There are a number of people who've done an enormous amount of work in this over the last few years, dealing with my impatience, but also just working hard to make sure we get this system put in place correctly. Tim Harps, our former transportation director, is here. Thank you, Tim, for joining us. And he, Dan Bergenthal, Becca Rolfe, and others in the Transportation Division have really been working on this for a number of years. Robin Hutchison has taken over that effort as the Transportation Director, and they have made this a high priority to make sure that BikeShare happens well. We've also had tremendous cooperation and support from throughout the community. One of the most frequent questions I get is, hey, I saw this somewhere else. How come we don't have it in Salt Lake? Or when are we going to get it? And so we know that there's a lot of pent-up demand for BikeShare. This is also, as is reflective of our community, a true public and private partnership. The city has put in money to make sure we have a system that's going to work well and to put in some of the capital costs. But a greater portion of the money has come from the private sector, from individual companies and others stepping forward to participate as sponsors of the program. You'll be hearing from Select Health today and Rio Tinto, who are major sponsors. We also have a number of folks who are sponsoring individual stations. And we invite anyone who has an interest to come forward and talk to us. Ben Bolte, who's behind me here and has really been Mr. Bicycle Share. I was going to say Mr. BS, but that would not be fair. And has helped us with the Downtown Alliance really set this up as a separate organization, as part, sort of under the umbrella of the Downtown Alliance, to run and operate the bike share program. But we'll have initially about 10 stations, but we'll have more stations depending on how many sponsors we get for stations. So we invite people to come forward, but the folks who've stepped up so far include Fidelity Investments, Backcountry.com, and Visit Salt Lake. And there are others I know who are planning to participate as well. We also have, and this is unusual among the systems I've seen anywhere else in the country, we will also be having helmets sponsored as part of the bike share program as well. So there'll be that increased portion of our private community to help make sure we have increased safety. With that, I certainly want to welcome all of you here today and thank you all. I see Charlie Lance here from Fidelity, who's one of our major sponsors as well. And tell you that a year from now, you'll be seeing these bikes all around town. You'll be seeing stations, and we look forward to people taking full advantage of a wonderful new addition to our downtown.